G'day everyone, and welcome back to Powersthetics Fitness, helping you to build your body to both look and perform at its best. In today's video, we'll be looking over all the major push exercises, determine which ones are good, which ones may not be worth your time, and which ones will get the best bang for your buck. So let's jump right into it. So this tier list is designed for push-based movements, so this will be good if you're either doing a push-pull leg split, or you like to work on movement patterns rather than muscle groups. So as this will work, we'll go through each of these push movements down here, we'll grade them between A, B, and C, and then at the end, I'll give you my top 3. Basically, if you have short on time, I'll give you the 3 that you should absolutely prioritize. I'll also give you a bit of an underrated pick that sometimes goes under the radar and deserves a little bit more love, as well as one which I think is like slightly overrated by the community. Obviously, these are all great exercises, hence why there's only A, B, and C, and there's no D and F tier, as these are all great movements, but just I thought one which may get a bit too much love and needs to be brought down a peg, I guess. So we're going to start off with the bench press, arguably one of the most iconic exercises of all time. When people find out that you go to the gym, they ask you, how much do you bench? Great movement for strength, great movement for hypertrophy, gets you a big chest, strong shoulders, strong triceps. Definitely going to go in the A tier, probably the lower end of the A tier because there's going to be a few better push movements coming up. But honestly, it's a very good movement for the middle and the lower chest. So we're going to be putting that in the A tier. Moving on to the close grip press, very good movement. I don't think as good as the regular bench press because you won't be able to lift as much weight and therefore won't have as many strength benefits. It's also a bit more closer grip and therefore will be more the triceps and not the chest, which is often something that a lot of people seek after, and there's definitely better tricep based movements. So great exercise, but probably not as good, and we're going to be putting that in the top of the B tier. Moving on to the incline press, one of my absolute favorite pressing movements, as it's one that will put a very high emphasis on the upper chest, which is a very sought after area for both aesthetics and also for athleticism, as the upper chest and the anterior deltoids are very important for pressing movements in sports. So that is going to be going in the top of the A tier and is a very good movement for strength and hypertrophy, as said. Moving right along to the overhead press, another one of my favorites, a great exercise for building strength all across the shoulders for the triceps. It's a great movement for athleticism, and overall, it just looks cool just to lift heavy weight over your head while standing. It's a good feeling, what can I say? Moving right along to the handstand push-up, a good movement, but there's definitely some limiting factors. You're definitely going to be limited by technique, as it's something that you'll need to be able to get up to the handstand position before you can actually perform the reps. You'll also may be limited by balance and range of motion, and in general, it's a good exercise, but I think that it can have some dangers, especially if you're on a hard surface. If you lose your balance, you could hurt yourself. Obviously, if you don't have any equipment, it can definitely be a good option. But in general, in this, compared to all these other exercises, I think it's going to have to go in the C tier. Moving on to the dip, another one of my favorites. It serves a very similar purpose to the bench press, as it will work the middle and the lower chest, as well as the triceps, shoulders, and stuff. A great pressing movement, very good for strength, for athleticism, and overall, I think that in some ways it's better than the bench press, just because I think it's a little bit more athletic as you're using your body weight, which is definitely better for relative strength, and it's a good way to be loaded up with weight from the weight vest or a weight belt. But anyway, moving on to the push-up, another great exercise, a classic exercise, often one which is used a lot in fitness. It's definitely a good exercise for beginners. However, I do think there are definitely limiting factors, especially when you get good at push-ups. You get to about 15 reps or so. It will sometimes have a bit like limited uses. Like obviously you can throw on like a weight vest or some extra weight and stuff, but it's a bit harder to do so rather than a dip, as it's like a bit more hard to balance. However, it's still a very good exercise for beginners / intermediate, and great for doing different variations. So we're going to be putting that in the B tier. Moving right along to the lateral raise, an absolutely great exercise for building up your shoulders, to building wide deltoids, great for hypertrophy. You can either do these with dumbbells or for cables, which is my preferred way, as it gives a much better resistance curve and obviously a good stretch. So overall, good exercise, not the best. It's going to go in the B tier. Next up is the overhead extensions / the tricep pushaways. So these are a great exercise for the triceps if you're looking to work the long head. Quick anatomy lesson, there's 3 heads and triceps, hence the tri in ceps. and 2 of the heads will be worked basically during any extension movement, whereas the long head is obviously going to work as well through that movement, but as well even greater when your arm is overhead and stretched. Therefore, movements like this is going to be great for hitting the long head, which makes up 2/3 of the triceps and therefore about half the arm. So finding movements like this is going to be very optimal for building big triceps. Overall, I think it's great. I think it's going to go in the top of the B tier, one of the best tricep movements you can do, in my opinion. Moving on to the final exercise, we're going to be doing the chest fly. A great isolation movement to build up the chest, get a good stretch, got a good contraction across your chest. Overall, great exercise. Not the best, not as good as any of the pressing movements in the top, but obviously something to keep in mind and something which is very useful. I'm going to be putting in that in either the bottom of B or the top of C. I'll go bottom of B. I'll be generous. Okay, moving on to the top 3. In my opinion, the 3 best movements you can do. So I'm going to be doing the overhead press. I think that's one of the best exercises overall for athleticism. You're on your feet, you're pressing, and I think it's just overall so good for building up shoulders, both strength and hypertrophy. Second, we're going to be doing the incline press. Great for aesthetics, great for the upper chest and for the triceps and shoulders as well. Definitely similarities between that and the overhead press, but I do think that if you do the right incline, we're around like 20 to 30 degrees, then you'll be hitting your chest enough as well. So not just the upper chest, but the lower chest as well. So good overall. Third exercise, I'm going to be doing the dip. It's got a good emphasis on the triceps, good emphasis on the lower chest. Overall, just an amazing strength builder, great for athletics. It's probably the flat benches in a similar stage to the dips. You can choose between the two. I personally would choose the dips over the bench press, but they're both still great movements. Okay, we're now going to be moving on to the most underrated, and obviously a lot of these are fairly rated, so it'll be a bit hard to say exactly that it's underrated, but I'm going to go with the tricep push away / overhead extension. I think it's definitely one of the best movements you can be doing for your triceps, getting a good stretch and a good contraction. So I'm going to be putting it in the underrated. For overrated, there's not really, like, a lot of these are fairly rated and really good exercises. If I had to do something, I think I'm gonna go with the push-ups, just because I think that for advanced lifters, there's not too much application for it. I think that in general, you'll be better with other movements. This is harder to load, but overall, this is the list. And there we have it. If you found this video helpful, be sure to drop a like. If you have any comments or any disagreements with anything that happened in the list, be sure to let me know down below in the comments. And if you want to see more content like this, be sure to hit that subscribe button. And if you want your own tailored program where I break everything down for you, be sure to check it out on the website, link in the description down below.